Hello, my name is Dr. Johnson Iyilade, and in today's career empowerment talk, I'll be talking about how to prepare for a data analyst job interview. Are you somebody that is a bit new in the field of data analytics? Maybe you have not worked in the field before, but you have been applying for jobs, and now you get your first interview request for the data analyst role. Congratulations. It means your resume caught the attention of the recruiting company, and you have been invited for a data analyst job interview. So what should you expect? What should you expect? And how do you prepare yourself for an interview as a data analyst? I mean, when you get an interview, it means that your effort in learning, your effort in building your portfolio, your effort in applying for jobs has actually paid off. But the real thing that will make you to now get the job offer is making sure that you prepare yourself well for job interviews. So in today's talk, I'll be talking about how to prepare yourself for a data analyst job interview. Now, the first thing that people often ask is, how many rounds of interview to expect? Well, it varies. It depends on the organization, the number of rounds of interview that you will go through. So in most cases, for data analyst or even data science role, the rounds of interview that people go through is between 2 and 5. It's between 2 and 5. Now, it depends on the company. So, but at least it's usually between 2 and 5. So it is very important for you to understand this and prepare for every stage of the interview, to know what to expect at every stage, and also prepare yourself for the interview. Now, all the interview stages, they are going to test so many of your knowledge, skills, experience, and personality. So they will test you for behavioral interview, technical knowledge interview. They can even give you take-home assignment to test your technical knowledge, and maybe they will give you a case study that they want you to answer on. So you've got to know how to position yourself and prepare yourself for all of these kinds of interview. So let me summarize it. So the interview can include HR interview. Usually that is usually the first step. So you get a call from the HR person, or you get an email from HR to set up maybe a 30-minute discussion with you to get to know you. So this one is just the first stage of screening you to by the recruiter to get a sense of your knowledge, your experience, the interest, and then they might ask you questions relating to salary expectations. So please make sure that if we are scheduled for that, make sure that you do some market research to understand maybe the salary scale, because they can ask you something like that, and that can also be something that you need to prepare to answer. So they want to check your experience. So know how to communicate how your experience can bring value to the organizations and how your past experience can be relevant to what the organization is trying to do. So that's usually one of the first stage of interview, the HR. Now, you can also have some other interview with the hiring manager or the team or a group of people in the team. So this one might just test your technical knowledge. They might ask you some technical knowledge questions to check your experience. Now, in some other cases, what they do next after the HR is a technical screening test. So they will give you some data set and ask you to work on it. For example, if you are working, looking for a data analyst role, they might give you a data set and ask you to build a dashboard or ask you to generate some report. They might ask you to use some Excel function to see whether you understand some fundamental tools or techniques that they need you to do in the job if they hire you. So you've got to prepare yourself with all the technical skills, update your skills, and make sure that you have all the knowledge and experience that they need, because when they give you the data, like a take-home project, usually the days that you have to finish the project, for example, if you are going to do a dashboard, is usually between 3 to 5 days. Between 3 to 5 days. So you must be sure that you have the skill relevant ready that you can finish within the required timeline. Now, so that's another kind of interview process that you might go through. The other one is that they might also ask you to do a presentation, to do an online presentation. So, and what that means is that you must be ready to be able to communicate your findings. You must be ready to be able to communicate what you did in the project to people. For example, if they ask you to do a dashboard, they might ask you to do a presentation to the team. So you must be ready to actually communicate essentially. And there is what I call the STAR approach that I always advise people to use when you are making a presentation about your experience and your knowledge and your skill, or maybe you work on a project and you are trying to present it to them. STAR means the situation, the task, the actions that you take, and then the results that you get. That's how you present even your past experiences as well. Don't just tell them, oh, this is my role. No, tell them the impact that your role makes, because that's what the employers are looking for. What is the impact of your work? Oh, it increases the company's revenue by this so amount. It reduces the number of time that they spend to do this. Those are things that they are looking for. Make sure that you fit it into what is the need of the organization. Now, another kind of interview that you can also have is on-site interview. That is, they might ask you to come to the company to meet a group of people that are in the team for the interview. So make sure that you dress very well. If you are going for in-person interview, make sure you dress very well and make sure that you communicate confidently and boldly. Don't show lack of courage. Don't show that you are not confident. Don't show that you don't even know whether you are okay to be able to fit into the role. Make sure that you communicate efficiently and confidently. So once you pass any of these tests, then you will get a job offer. So those are some common process that you might experience. So let me share with you 7 tips that you can focus on to prepare yourself for a data analyst interview. Number 1 is that you must get clarity on the focus of the interview stage and format. What is the focus of the stage of the interview? So if there is many stages, you must be clear. What is the first stage? Okay, the first stage is with HR, with the human resources. Then you already know that that person is not likely to ask you so many technical questions. They just want to know you, your personality, and maybe your past experiences. They are not going to ask you questions about Python, questions about Power BI or Tableau. That is not the goal of HR. It is just to get to know you whether you are a fit for the role. So you've got to ask the HR when they are setting up the interview to know what to expect in that stage of the interview. That is very key to prepare yourself, because you don't want to get to the interview and then you are shocked what the interview you are having is different from what you are expecting. So make sure that you get clarity. You can ask the HR when they send the email to you to invite you for the interview to ask them what to expect for the interview. Number 2 thing that you also need to do if you are preparing yourself is to review the job role description. The job role description. So in the job role that you apply for, what are the things that they are looking for? What are the skills that they are looking for? If they are asking you for maybe Python, then make sure that you have your Python knowledge up to date. If they don't ask for Python, then it means it's not a requirement. If they're asking for Power BI, then make sure your Power BI knowledge is up to date. If they're asking you for Tableau, it means that Tableau will be something that you might be tested in. So make sure that you review the job description to have the business sense. What exactly is the business about? Because depending on the role, there are different things that you need to know about the business. For example, if it is a sales and marketing analysis role, it is different from somebody who is working in HR analysis. Okay, so you've got to know what is the role, because you need to have some little bit of domain dashboard or domain reporting that is done for that field. So make sure that you review the job role description that you used to apply. Number 3 thing is you have to know how to brand yourself. Now, by branding, I mean your skill, your knowledge, and experience. And it's not all your skill, all your knowledge, and all your experience that is relevant. It is only what is relevant and a fit to the role that you must know how to market it to the people. Talk about your past experiences. Don't just talk about, oh, I work in the role of a data analyst. Oh, I did some work as a software engineer. No, that's not what we are saying. We are saying you must brand yourself and promote the impact, the results that you get from the previous role, because that will give that excitement to the recruiters to know that if they bring you in, you are going to bring a lot of impact onto their role as well. Number 4 thing that you also have to do is to cultivate some soft skills. Cultivate some soft skills such as courage, confidence, and communication during the interview. Cultivate some soft skills such as courage, confidence, and communication during the interview. Now, a number of times, one thing that I've discovered is that it's not sometimes the best people, the best technical people that get the job. So why do sometimes the less qualified people are the one that got the job? One thing that I believe is that most of them, they have this soft skill of courage, confidence, and communication during the interview. So make sure that you build that skill as well before you are invited for interview. The ability to speak confidently, courageously, without being ashamed of even asking them questions during the interview. Don't keep quiet. Make sure that you communicate correctly and you are very bold and confident of what you can bring as value to the organization. Okay. Number 5 thing that will help you when you are preparing for interview is to have a business sense. Have a business sense. And what I mean is you need to have some domain knowledge about the role and the company that you're asking for. And the way to do that is to research the company and what they do. Do a research on the company and what they do. And if you can research what they do, how long have they existed, what kind of work do they do, are there anything that they do? Because during the interview process, they want to know whether you actually know the organization. And also, you also want to know what the role is requiring from you. If it is sales and marketing analysis, find out a little bit about dashboard or KPIs that are being used for that role, so that you will have knowledge of, oh, is your company tracking this kind of metrics? You see, it helps you to actually know, communicate that you have some domain knowledge, that you have some business knowledge, because that is very important when you are doing analysis. So build your business sense by researching the company and the field and what they do. That's very important. That's number 5 tips. Number 6 tips that you should bear in mind when you are preparing for interview is to study ahead of time and practice real interview questions. Don't wait until when you are invited for interview to start practicing. Start practicing. Do some research on commonly asked questions for a data analyst on Google. Review them. See whether if anybody is asking you that question, you can answer it confidently. It is very important to practice. Okay, preparations always precedes performance. Preparation always precedes performance. Make sure the time that you are waiting for them to give you an interview request or anything is not a wasted time. It's a time of preparation. So make sure that you are ready for opportunity when it comes. Don't wait. Prepare. Try to Check your knowledge of SQL, check your knowledge of Python, check your knowledge of Power BI, check your knowledge of maybe Tableau, check your knowledge of all the tools, Excel, that they need for a data analyst role ahead of time. Don't waste that time and wait for the last minute. No, that's very important. And number 7 tips that I will be sharing with you today is that you should maybe set up a mock-up interview to simulate the process. And what that means is that find somebody maybe that can actually interview you in preparation. And what that means is that it can be a colleague, it can be a mentor, it can be somebody that is a coach to you to just ask you some clarification questions and assess your confidence, your courage, and your communication skill so that the person can give you a feedback before you actually do the real interview. That is very key because you want to be sure that you are communicating the right way. So let me recap the 7 tips that you can use to prepare yourself for a data analyst interview. Number 1, get clarity on the focus or the interview stage and format. Don't just assume that, oh, this is going to be a coding test. No, make sure that you ask, what is the interview going to be about so that you know what to prepare for. Number 2 is that you should review the job role description so that you can see exactly what the company is looking for. If they're asking for some specific skill, make sure that you are up to date in that skill. Number 3, you need to know how to brand yourself. Okay, brand your skill, brand your knowledge, brand your past experiences in a way that communicates to people that you can bring some value to the organization. Number 4, cultivate some soft skills such as courage, confidence, and communication during the interview, because sometimes the people that are less qualified, they are the ones that get the job, not necessarily the best person. The reason is because the person doesn't demonstrate courage and confidence and communication skills. So, which is very important. They are soft skills, but they are very important as the hard skills as well. Number 5, build your business sense by researching the company and what they do. Make sure that before the interview, you understand the business, you understand what they do. In fact, you have some domain knowledge about the field as well. So the role itself, make sure that you do some research and maybe you can check some dashboard online to get some idea of what they need and what they are expecting so that you can communicate that correctly during the interview. Number 6, study and practice real interview questions. Before you get opportunity for interview, I will encourage you, please start practicing interview for SQL, for Python, for Power BI, different kind of interview. Try it, practice it, so that you are ready for the opportunity, because preparation precedes opportunity in life. Number 7, conduct some mock-up interview to simulate the process. So when you are having an interview, you can ask a peer, a colleague, or a mentor, or a coach to actually conduct a short interview with you so that you can be prepared for that interview. So you can do a mock-up so that the person can assess your courage, your confidence, and your ability to communicate correctly. And maybe the person can give you some feedback that will help you to do your presentation very correctly. All right. I hope this tip help you. So in summary, before the interview, make sure you do research and align yourself. And during the interview, show some courage and confidence. After the interview, you should also do a follow-up by sending a thank you email to the recruiter to say, or the hiring manager to say, you're really looking forward to opportunity to work with the organization. Those little things, they matter. Send a follow-up email and say, what should I expect for the next stage of the interview? That's very important. All right. I hope this tip help you. If it help you, please like it and share it so that others can also benefit from it. So I look forward to sharing more tips in my next video. Thank you.